Really?
You mean putting your
Well, actually doing a
yeah.
link. I have a link. They've got a link to me
Yeah.
now already. But doing some advertising there because we tend to wax conservative here and try and draw some of those people over here, at least even just to read my stuff on the website.
Paid advertisement is what he's talking about.
Yeah, I might try that.
That's a good idea. All right, let us know.
Well, we're on the air right now.
Good. Okay.
This is political, and this is Percy.
Now that we've had Brooke Fox outfox us with her empathy. No, it was a good segment. It was. It was.
If you're going to use compassion and reason, just forget it, Brooke.
That's right.
You're on the wrong show.
It has no business here. So I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but it escapes me at the moment. But it's a great video on YouTube. You need to check it out.
Man's got a mind like a colander.
I
Go ahead.
believe apparently South Carolina has a defensive line like a colander.
Absolutely.
Or the Arizona border. You need to check this out, and it happened just this week. He was sitting there, he was in the House of Representatives, right, in the chambers, and they were in session, and someone from California, one of the female reps from California, there are hundreds of them, not from California, but there's hundreds of representatives, as I'm sure you're familiar with, was sitting there acting as acting Speaker of the House, and all he asked was to be recognized for a minute, and he says, hearing no objection, I wish to proceed, and she said no.
Wait a minute, which one was that? Sorry. Which one was the acting?
I know what he's talking about. Yeah, there was a woman.
There was a
Republican
woman
from
acting, a Democrat woman from California
Okay.
acting as Speaker of the House in Nancy Pelosi's stead.
Okay, so
There
it's
were
the
like
guy who-
4
okay.
people in the chambers, aside from congressional pages. The guy says, I request 5 minutes to speak. Hearing no objection, I request to be recognized. No. I request 1 minute to speak. Hearing no objection, I request to be recognized. No. She says no again. Finally, he says, Madam Speaker, there's no one here. No one's here to hear what I have to say. There's a guy about to pull a trick to slip something into a bill. One of the lead Democrats was about to try to slip something into a bill that was going to be voted on without anybody there to try and throw it under the radar. And he's like, to stop this piece of political maneuvering, you won't recognize a ranking member of the Republican Party in this House of Representatives. And then he says the greatest line possibly uttered in the entire history of that governing body. This is why the American people voted you out of power. He says it right to her face, like Donnie Baker. And then she goes, she kind of looks at him.
Face. Swear to God,
I swear to God, I will. It's state law.
State law.
So she then doesn't even look at him, doesn't acknowledge him. He says, I would like 1 minute. Can I please be recognized for 1 minute? The House is not considering special rules at this time. 1 minute, Madam Speaker. 1 minute. Now, and he goes, hearing no objection. Finally, she goes, 1 minute. And he didn't even talk for 1 minute. He talked for 15 seconds about how the other party is out of power and why it's out of power. And then she goes, and he's like, you know what? That's all I have to say. I yield the rest of my time. She didn't even look at him the whole time he was talking. It was possibly the best metaphor for the state of the Democratic Party.
Still arrogant. Still arrogant.
Incredibly arrogant. And it's not, I don't have a problem with a political disagreement. I don't even have a problem with elitism. I have a friend named Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson's blog is called The Unrepentant Elitist because Zach Robinson is a paid composer who managed to nearly graduate from the University of Michigan before he smoked his college education away on some sort of magical mystery medicine.
Okay.
Forgive me.
Zach doesn't care. Believe me, he doesn't care.
The opinions and words of Percy Hughes are not necessarily the opinions and the words of Colbertradio.com.
His blog is called The Unrepentant.
See his lawyer.
Yeah, that's fine. I got several. Well, I don't have any anymore. I'm a conservative. He has a very interesting worldview, and his worldview is that he's an incredibly smart man, and sometimes he gets pissed that there are so many stupid people. That's elitist. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. You know why?
Illegal.
You know why? Because he's not saying he should be in charge of those incredibly stupid people. There's a huge difference between I'm smarter than you and then I'm smarter than you, therefore I'm better than you. That's a world apart. Somebody out there that's not a Democrat has to do the jobs and that these people in government can't do but are trying to do. The government is trying to do things it has no experience with. You've got lawyers and politicians trying to tell you how your health care should work. what type of light bulbs you should put in your house, what trans fats you should put in your body. I have seen some of the
It's
fattest...
amazing the stuff they think they have to be able to tell you to do.
They have some
it's
of
amazing.
the fattest bastards on the planet, both, I mean, in terms of the wallet and in terms of their gut, sitting there telling you that you need to be healthier. That is hypocrisy, and I don't have a problem with elitism as long as you believe it. If you're an elitist and you can do all kinds of math and compose and do all this great stuff, you have to realize that there's some guy out there with his ass crack hanging out who installs a toilet better than you. And it's the same thing with Washington. You have to realize there are doctors and economists and lawyers who do these jobs that you're trying to do better than you do.
Yeah, he really needs to know about it.
But that's where the arrogance, that's where the American people are fed up. It's not that you can't tell us you're smart. We believe you're smart. We elected you. I believe Barack Obama is damn near a genius, if not beyond that level.
I differ with you. I really don't think they are that smart. Not Obama. I'm not talking about Obama.
Collectively, they're not.
No,
individually,
not even,
some of them are very smart.
Some of them are, but I think a vast number, particularly in the leadership, are really not that smart.
You'd find
Stop and think about it for a minute. They swept into power.
Yes.
And they could do anything they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the economy's in the tank. Everybody just wants them to deal with the economy. Jobs,
yeah.
jobs. They spent all their political capital on health care. Not a bright thing to start with in the first place. Secondly, if they could have done something with health care, it would have gotten support, widespread support, even the Republican Party. Things that they could have done that they certainly should have had no objection to doing. Things like, allow people to buy insurance across state lines, that sort of thing. They should have had no problem with doing that. They could have started with that. I'm going to tell you something. Republicans never would have regained the House.
No.
They had just simply taken some of these smaller first steps, but they were tied in by their core.
Well, they weren't smart enough to leave their ideology at the door.
And you have to remember, only 25% of the people in this country consider themselves Democrats. And of them, not all of them are really the very hard left Democrat.
Right.
And so it's an incredibly small percentage that jerked them so hard to the left, they lost control of the House. And I'm telling you right now, they stand a very good chance of losing control of the Senate in 2 years.
And the presidency.
And the presidency,
but Barack Obama, I told you before the show.
But they could have entrenched themselves unbelievably if they
made
the right decision.
They would have been the party of America.
Yeah, you would have gone, what's wrong with you? Look, this is your big chance. You could be heroes. But no, they had to spend that political capital on health care.
Now, real quick, we'll do a quick synopsis of the compromise. Healthcare
is a good thing.
You think healthcare is a good thing? Let's talk about the compromise that was made on the Bush tax cuts real quick.
Oh, you better hurry up because we're running out of time.
This is breaking news right now. The compromise is the tax cuts are going to stay, including the rich.
How long?
For at least the next 2 years. Okay. It's not a permanent tax extension or tax rate extension. Unemployment benefits are going to be extended by 13 months. Concurrent with that, there will be a reduction in the payroll tax proposed by the Democrats because the payroll tax is part of what's keeping people from hiring new workers. On top of that, there's going to be a reduction in the estate tax or a temporary hold on the increase in the estate tax.
How can there be a decrease in the estate tax? There is no estate tax.
Well, the estate tax...
the death tax was eliminated during the Bush years.
Death tax,
so it's going to be a smaller increase.
Yes, it's a sundown on the estate tax.
Yes.
But the sundown, the estate taxes were 55%. It's going to be less than 55%.
That always bothered me. You know, the government dipping its beak into the death of a family member.
It means you worked most of your life.
You spent all your life to accumulate that money, so that wealth that you can pass on, make life better for your children and your grandchildren. The government comes in again.
Yeah, well, Bill Maher put it very succinctly. You don't get to be rich because you were some rich guy's pecker snot. That's his exact words.
That's right.
And I'm like, no, that's not pecker snot. That's a child. That's something you work for. That's not something you just create because you happen to have a good night. Maybe that's how they.
Bill Maher would put it that way.
He would, but that's for comedic effect, maybe, or maybe
it's not
he's just an asshole.
It's really not just comedic effect with this guy.
He's going for clapter.
He's going, yeah. He's
clap laughter.
Bill Maher is just, yeah.
It's for he wants people to cheer.
He's playing to a smaller and smaller audience too. I got to tell you,
just like
he's
his
really
hairline.
alienating a lot of people, just like his hairline.
It's just.
Well, anyway, that's our political segment. We'll be right back with our good night from Colbertradio.com.
Let's do it.